Hi, Emily here from Homemade Emily Jane, and in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to turn a mini quilt into a zipper pouch like this one. So you'll see here, this is a really nice size zipper pouch. It's about 12 inches wide by 10 inches tall, so it can hold like lots of really nice quilting supplies, maybe your rotary cutter, extra blades, thread, like everything you might need to bring your quilting with you on the go. For this zipper pouch, I actually made a mini quilt first using the Triangular Quilt pattern. This is a quilt pattern in my shop, and I'll go ahead and drop a link in the description below. The fabrics I used for my mini quilt are all Riley Blake blenders and solids. And I have a blog post up that has this tutorial in it as well, and I'll link all of these fabrics in the blog post, again, in the description below. Let's dive in and learn how to make your very own mini quilt zipper pouch. We'll start out by going over the supplies that we need for our zipper pouch. So you'll start off with a mini quilt that you make and quilt to just a piece of batting on one side. This one comes out to 12.5 inches by 20.5 inches. And then you'll also need 2 pieces of fabric for the lining of your pouch. And then you'll also need a zipper that is nearly as wide as your quilt top, as well as a 2-inch square of fabric that we fold up like shown, and we're actually going to stitch it to the end of the zipper so that it finishes off that edge. And while we're at it, we'll also prep our zipper by pressing these corners back at the top and basting them in place just so that they're out of the way when we start sewing it together. You can see now I've gone ahead and stitched the little tab at the end of the zipper, and I'll go ahead and trim it so that it's in line with the zipper itself on both sides. You can also see the top of the zipper, the tabs are just pulled backwards and basted into place just to get them out of the way. And we'll start off by actually opening up her zipper, and we're going to stitch it onto the quilt top. Go ahead and put the zipper side down on the quilt top, and make sure that the end of your zipper has like about a 1/2 inch of space for seam allowance later. And go ahead and line the top of the zipper up, the edge like that, and we will go ahead and baste it in place with just about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once the zipper has been basted into place, we'll go ahead and take one of our lining fabrics, put the other one aside, put it right side down, and we are going to line it up with the top of the pouch. Go ahead and move that zipper so that it's about the halfway mark. And using a zipper foot on your sewing machine, go ahead and stitch a 1/4 inch away so that we're getting right up next to the zipper. Once you've sewn your first piece of lining down, you will see that you can open it up, and you'll have the zipper right side up will be facing your quilt, and then the wrong side will be facing the right side of your lining. So that's right there, half of your pouch. What we'll do next is go ahead and press these in opposite directions and pull the zipper out. Go ahead and press with your fingers, and then we will also do just like a quick top stitch line right next to the zipper to keep that nice and crisp. Now you'll see this half of the pouch is ready to go. So next up, we're going to bring our other half of the pouch towards our zipper, and we're actually going to place the right side of the zipper down towards the right side of the pouch. Line up both edges with the edge of your quilt, and sew a basting stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper. So now our zipper is basted to the opposite side of our quilt top, and we sew on our last piece together. This is our lining for the other side of the pouch, and we'll go ahead and place it down right side down. Again, the wrong side of the zipper is up here. We'll place it right side down and stitch a 1/4 inch along the zipper's edge. Alright, now you'll see the second lining piece is attached. We'll go ahead and just finger press so that we pull it away from the zipper. And we actually go ahead, unzip your zipper, and flip the quilt in the middle so that the quilt top is outside. And you can see kind of how the pouch is starting to come together when we zip it up. when we unzip it, we see lining on both sides, right side up. We want to make sure that we do a top stitch along this zipper's edge as well. So first, finger press to pull the pieces away and make it nice and crisp, and then stitch just right next to the zipper like we did on this side of the pouch. Now, because our outer fabric is one continuous quilt top, it is a little difficult to stitch that top stitch seam down, but just take it slow and you'll be fine. Now you can see this is what the outside of our zipper pouch will look like, and then we can go ahead and finish out with the inside of the pouch. So when we unzip the zipper, we'll see both of the layers of lining. We'll go ahead and turn the whole thing basically inside out. So we have our quilt top is right there, and then we have our two pieces of lining right here. Line up our lining corners together and go ahead and pin all the way around from the edge of the quilted part all the way through the zipper part to the corners, all the way on both sides. Once you have it pinned, we're going to go ahead and sew. We're actually going to sew from one of these corners of the quilted pouch 1/4 inch all the way to about here. We're going to leave a 3 or 4 inch opening, and then we're going to pick it back up and stitch around all the way to here. An important note is make sure that your zipper on the inside is unzipped, because we're going to need that unzip to turn the whole thing inside out in just a minute. Another thing, as you go over the parts that have the zipper, make sure that you take it really slow and try to line up the pieces as best as possible. And of course, don't try to sew over anything metal if your zipper has metal on it. Now it's been sewn all the way around the edges. We of course did not need to sew this edge because it's folded over. But I do want to let you know I did reinforce the stitches at both ends here, and then also when it got down to the corners here, just a little bit of backspace to make sure everything stays put. Now is the really fun part. We go ahead and open up the hole in the lining and we turn the whole thing inside out. See here we have a pretty good size zipper pouch, and we can go ahead and zip it closed. But one final thing we want to do before we're completely done is go back in here and grab that lining back out. You'll see we have that hole that we left earlier in our lining. You can go ahead and hand stitch that closed, or use your machine to just stitch that lining closed in the center. For the sake of time, I used my machine to stitch it closed. You can see it's not super pretty, but it doesn't really matter because it'll be on the inside of the pouch. And now you'll see we have our pouch nice and finished. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial for how to make your very own zipper pouch. Be sure to check out homemadeemilyjane.com, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a big thumbs up below.